What up, YouTube? It's my one half month update. This is unscripted, unplanned. I'm just here in the playground. It's cold, so nobody's here. So I thought I would just hit you guys with another update, and it's been really interesting. I've cut certain things out. As you know, no forums, no social media, basically no jibber jabber between me trying to be heard and trying to talk to somebody I don't know and listening to them, whether they're even genuine or not, who knows. At least on YouTube, you're seeing somebody's face. Um, Obviously, I could still be lying about who I am and what I'm doing with my life, but I'm not trying to put on a front or trying to be like me because everyone's on their own path. But I hope I can have something valuable to tell to you guys. And sorry if I'm not as articulate as usual. I'm very tired. The fire alarm went off at like 2 in the morning, and my girlfriend's 4 year olds like woke up like super freaked out. And it took us like all forever. Then the baby woke up. Yeah, sleep is no joke. If you're young and you can sleep, like appreciate it. Just get as much done as you can. When you're young, you like can get away with lack of sleep and you could stay up real late, and that's really a foundation that I think more and more people are talking about. Everybody knows, oh yeah, you should eat good, should exercise, you should like keep your cool and not let your emotions take you all over the place. But sleep kind of lays a foundation for that. Although it does make you stronger because when you're low sleep, it's much easier to fall into these old patterns of, anger or confusion or questioning your whole life or negativity. So there's benefit in that. You gotta, sometimes you can't control things like sleep, for instance, when you got kids. So just view what comes up as an opportunity to look at what comes up. Anyways, it's strange to look at myself as I'm talking, so I may not look exactly at the camera. I wonder how people do this. I guess that's why people don't use a smartphone. They got a little tiny camera lens and they just look at that because it feels kind of like I'm a little bit crazy to talk to my actual self. But I digress. Um, yeah, it's going good. I'm spending a lot of time on YouTube. Probably my YouTube time has gone up as my social media forums and all that has gone down. But I notice my habits are changing a bit. I'm watching a lot less politics and a lot more interviews, long interviews, like a lot of comedians. Because you got to respect comedians that are putting themselves out there. I mean, a comedian can take social pressure, putting yourself out there. And unlike me, I'm just talking to you. If y'all don't like me, y'all aren't even still watching. Whereas a comedian, if you're up there and you're awkward, people are gonna laugh at you. People are gonna mock you and insult you. You really got to be on. Anyway, so yeah, George Carlin and Jon Stewart and Louis C.K. and Jim Carrey. The WTF podcast has some good stuff. Bill Burr. Anyways, and I'm watching less politics. Like I'm curious about the state of the world. I'm curious, but there's something about always having to keep up with the latest that is kind of addictive. It makes you feel like, oh, I'm getting new information, but this is not affecting you and your like ecosystem. My ecosystem is me and my family, and trying to figure out how to get money here in England, trying to figure out how to survive, trying to maintain contact with my family back in the States and my friends back in the States. And I'm really trying to think about each interaction I'm having. That's the one thing about the internet. You're just having all this interaction and you're having all these emotions and stimulation that's going into your brain that's not really affecting your day-to-day life. So like I'm watching exercise content, I'm watching these interviews, and sure I don't know these people, but people can be inspiring. Successful people can be inspiring. People who crash and burn can be like inspiring in their own ways. You can learn from their rise and you can learn from their fall. And then mediocre people can be inspiring too in their own way. Just like you learn like what you really don't want out of life. And I think that's that's one thing I had for decades really when I was engaging in certain behaviors online. I'm like, this isn't me. This isn't what I want to be doing. There was kind of this like self-disgust, and when you live your life like that, you can't help but like put it onto others too. And of course, other people aren't gonna like you for that. If they're doing the same thing as you, there's something to be said for someone who's like, if you're gonna get drunk, and just like be in the moment and feel the highs and feel the lows, and then stop doing it. But when you're kind of doing something with the attitude like where you're like half there and you're half present, but you really don't want to be there and engaged, and you're just kind of, it's just yucky. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's just nice to be free of that, and it's just nice to see how my behavior is evolving. And you just make a core commitment, you stick to the core commitment, and just see how things change. And don't be too hungry to add on. Oh, well, I've achieved this, now I have to achieve that, now I have to achieve this. Like, oh, now I can't watch any YouTube now. I shouldn't even use my smartphone at all. I shouldn't take photographs. If I send someone a text and they don't get back to me in a certain time, like, fuck that person. That person's not my real friends. Like, I need to cut everybody off except like a core group of people, and I need to like have these utmost standards for myself. I mean, all these thoughts are like something to look at, but I think when you make a big commitment, you just kind of stick with just that, and make little changes, like mess around with little changes, but don't make another huge commitment and another huge commitment. Just make your one commitment and really like commit to it. So that's where I'm at, and it's good. It's good. I'm super tired right now. I'm A lot of times you do something, you cut something off that gives you kind of comfort and escape, and you feel worse in a lot of ways, but you just got to remember to like appreciate yourself, and be like, okay, well, I'm practicing being more present. And the whole reason I got into this behavior in the first place, whether drinking alcohol or, you know, doom scrolling or whatever you do, um, engaging in relationships you shouldn't, like, any form of escape, there's a reason you're escaping, and that's not going to go away when you stop the behavior. It's going to be more in your face than ever. And yeah, but you got to give yourself that like good feeling, like I'm working on this. I'm not It's not about holding myself to a standard. And again, that's part of the problem with the internet, including YouTube and self-help addiction and all that. You're always like idealizing someone else and thinking someone else has got it. I want to get to that point. And you don't give yourself credit. You got to give yourself credit for what you've done, even if it's a tiny thing. If you're 300 pounds and you got down to 295, give yourself props. Like, you know anyways, I'm starting to reach the end of this video because I'm losing the plot a little bit because I'm tired. But nevertheless, I'm not here to inspire you as an orator. I'm just here to, I think the main takeaway, I'm speaking, this is unscripted, so I'm like telling it to myself as well as y'all. But yeah, core commitment, stick to that. Don't get too crazy about, oh, now I got to do this and now I got to do that. And oh, this is like, I've kind of done this, but I'm kind of still doing some other stuff. So it doesn't really count. It does count. Give yourself credit. You're doing good. And, maybe write down, have a notebook and write down other goals that you want to have. But don't just like, I remember when I was in my 20s, especially, and into my 30s, I would be like, all right, starting today, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be hardcore. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. And I didn't even know myself. I didn't even know whether I really wanted to do these things or what these things even meant. You don't know what stuff means until you've started. Anyway, people are coming to the playground, so I don't want to be that awkward guy. Bye.